Yo, what's up? This is DJ Zone, Sloth City Studios. You're watching Cross the Street.
What is good? I'm here today with DJ Zone.
What's
Thank
up?
you so much
How's
for
it going?
inviting me down to the lair here.
Absolutely.
What is the name of the space? What do you call
Sloth City Studios.
Sloth City.
Sloth City, which is a funny, interesting. I don't know. That's always funny when people ask where that came from, because that's like a 9-year-old running joke that has somehow just stuck still and is still here. But we used to have a group called Big Bang with like 15 people in it.
What year was this?
This was 2010, 11, 12,
Okay.
13, somewhere around there. We had the old studio, Salmon Street, over in Southeast in like the industrial district. And that's a whole story in and of itself. But Zeb used to have that spot, and it was like the Old Dominion hangout. And then he moved here, and then when he moved into this building, we took over that old studio. And then we all went on Warped Tour and couldn't keep up with rent, and then we ended up recording in my grandma's basement a lot. But that's I don't know. There's a whole story there.
How long have you been making or producing and being part of the culture here in Portland? You've been for a long time, right?
Yeah, I want to say it's been about 20 years or so,
Wow.
17, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there. I started making music when I was around 14, 15.
What did that
and I'm
consist of, making music?
35. Mostly just like scratching. Like it started with scratching for me, and I always wanted to make like turntable music. But I wasn't good enough at scratching yet, I feel like, to make like the kind of turntable music I was trying to make. And then, I would just make things. And I started rapping a little bit, like, those years when I was in high school. Graffiti, I've always been kind of like into hip hop. And then I found scratching and was like, oh, okay, clearly this is the thing. This is what I do. And fell pretty deep into that. And I had some friends at Quest, where I went to school, which is like an alternative school.
I went to alternative school too.
Yeah.
Shouts to
You
Focus
get
at
kicked
Madison.
out. Yeah. You get kicked out of the regular schools, and you go to Merlot or Quest.
Serendipity.
Any of those. So I had two friends, Nick Woolmett or Flawless from Bad Habitat.
Shouts to Bad Habitat.
And Troy Shanker, aka Dr. Seuss.
All right.
But they were going there, and when we all graduated high school, they hit me up like a year or two later and were like, yo, are you still rapping? And I was like, no, actually, I'm like scratching now. And they were like, perfect, we need a DJ. And then they introduced me to Max Graves and our homie John Doe, rest in peace. And we started a group called Lethal Audio when we were like 17, 18, somewhere around there. And started doing that. And then we all kind of like, Max and I kind of broke away from the group at large and started doing our own stuff, which became Master and Mind. And then we met Brady from Moose Knuckle, and then started Nightcrawlers.
How do you remember all this stuff?
I don't even know anymore. But that's actually the same day I met Sleep. And we did a show, Moose Knuckle was opening up for Sleep, and I met Brady and Sleep on the same night, and then started DJing for Sleep, and started a group with Brady and Max called Nightcrawlers, and we started doing that thing. And then
that was your foot in the door with Old Dominion then,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And then started meeting everybody in that, and me and Sleep started touring for 15 years or whatever, pretty nonstop. And I met everybody that around that entailed that.
I think anybody that knows you or knows your story, I guess, like knows your passion for the scene and how many people you're involved with. I'm always blown away when I hear something that I like, and then I'll meet the artist and I'll be like, oh yeah, Zone did that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. DJ Bird.
Dude, yeah,
Bro,
totally. Yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck? Like, where did this come from? You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah. It's crazy. It blows my mind because like I've always been involved, in the scene and like.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
We're getting to. I'm already getting a little bit high before I got here.
Yeah, no, I know. This is how I'm like the worst. Like we started, I just immediately start talking. Like, oh yeah, like let's get into this fucking story from 20 years ago. Let's where are we at now? Oh, what is this, Reaper?
Do what you want, man.
Thank you.
I tried to get you a vape, but fuck Nectar today.
No, yeah,
Those
that's
assholes.
fine. This is looking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been involved with stuff just, I don't know, for a long time. But it's been, the last 3 years has been interesting running a studio.
You are a busy person. Every time you're very busy.
It's very nonstop. I don't know where it's at now, but about a month ago, I did the math and I've recorded 29,000 songs in the past 3 years. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. I assume that I've passed 3,000 at this point, or 30,000. But that's like that blows my mind because like 5 years ago, me and Sleep recorded like 300 songs.
Let's
in
just
like
say that chair you're
2 years.
sitting in.
Yeah,
Let's just say that chair you're
some
sitting
hours.
in. See some hours, man. We'll start a GoFundMe for a new chair for you.
Yeah. That's my next studio purchase. Actually, is a
sleeper
chair. Yeah, exactly. Where I can just. But yeah, no. I mean, me and Sleep recorded like 300 songs in like a year. And maybe a year and a half, something like that. And I thought that was a lot. And I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of songs. Which is definitely a lot of songs. But it's like, I was switching hard drives. And I was like cleaning the new, or no. It was when I switched my computer. And I was looking at everything that was in iTunes. And I just upload all the like iTunes, all the songs that I do into playlists for like different artists and stuff like that. And I was like 29,000 songs, and then I did the math on that, and then I was like, that's about 13 songs a day. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wow.
That's weird. Like that, like it seems crazy, but then like in the context of it, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that totally makes sense because I definitely do about 18 hours a day or so when I'm like going and I'm just like in it, 14 to 18 hours a day, somewhere in there. And I'd say on average, people record songs in about an hour. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I have people that'll spend 15 hours on a song, or people that'll come in and knock out like 4 songs in an hour. And just like they have everything memorized and they're like verse, overdub, ad-lib, hook, overdub, ad-lib, boom, next song, fucking, and just like knock them out. But on average, over the span of things, I'd say about an hour a song is like typical. And so I was like, yeah, 12 to 13 songs a day is actually like, is actually technically lower than I should be pushing.
I make beats.
But,
I make beats, and when I go back on my old beats, sometimes I'm always blown away. Where I'm like,
I know,
oh, like I have 4,000 beats. How is that
How
possible?
does that even happen?
Yeah,
Or you just don't. Like, I just don't remember things. I like hear. This is the thing that's tripping me out now because like I'm always making music. I always spend my time here recording people, and so I don't like follow up a lot with like the videos and like people put stuff out, and then I'll like stumble upon it later and be like,
I did this.
Oh, I remember that song. I totally recorded that, and it's like. That right now is a trip, just like scrolling through my Facebook, and it's like, I recorded that, 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 and I'm like, it's fucking weird. I don't know, it just like, it still trips me out that I'm engineering, because it's like not necessarily ever something that I like, was like, that's what I'm gonna get into. It was like, it basically just came about by default because I'd be in a room with 15 rappers all the time, and I'm the only one that is not writing a verse. So I'm like, let me do this thing, and I'll like record everyone. But I don't know.
You know what I like to call that?
Yeah.
That's a silver medalist, and I think there needs to be more of us.
Yeah.
It's the guys that are willing to, let's get the gold for you.
Let's do it. Yeah, exactly. I've never had a problem playing the. I mean, I'm a DJ. Like, and in today's world in hip hop, the DJ plays the background. Although that wasn't always the case.
Always the case.
But that is the current thing that happens, and I'm totally okay with that. I don't need the like whatever recognition or whatever. I just like making music. I'm just like into and I think that's why I started running the studio, because I had this moment on tour with Macklemore in Europe, where I was like sitting on the bus and just kind of like thinking about like, what is it that I really want out of this? Like, what am I trying to do? Like realistically for myself? Like what, like we're playing these like huge shows, Coliseums, 20, 30,000 people a night. And I'm like, that's not necessarily my scene. I like it. I enjoy that. I would never take away having that experience because it's amazing. But at the same time, it's like, that's not where I'm the most comfortable. I'm the most comfortable playing like a bar show with 300 people, and like, you can like smoke a spliff and have a drink and kick it with people.
I've been asking this question to people. What does success or full-time music look like for you?
Yeah.
And I think success is something that we can all kind of put our own value on.
Exactly.
So like you're saying, you got to play in front of 30,000, but it's cooler in front of 300.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like, and I've seen like the whole range of like, playing for 2 people at a bar versus playing for 30, 40,000 people, a Coliseum, and everywhere in between. And personally, I feel like the ideal crowd size is like 500 to like 1,500 people. I feel like that's like a good window where it's like still big enough to feel like a big show, but you can still see everybody's eyes in like the back row. And like you
think about any of your favorite shows that you went to. I guarantee you they're more intimate.
Yeah,
it's always
exactly.
Less,
any of the like, you're like, oh, this is the one, and it's like, oh, I'm right there, and I'm like seeing them. It starts when it starts getting bigger than that. That's when it gets into like theater territory, and it turns into something else. It's still awesome, but it's not like a hip hop show.
How did that feel?
I feel
the first
like
time you run it? I mean, was that like just
a little
bit of an awe moment?
There's there's a couple of those that are like real weird, like your first whatever experiences. Like Coliseums are weird because they're very. So I had this idea when I first started, like when you first start doing shows and stuff like that, you play for 10 people at a bar, and then you meet everybody at the bar, and you like talk to them and hang out and have a conversation. You're trying to sell CDs, like whatever, you're doing your thing, talking to people, and then you do a show for 50 people at a bar, and you meet most of those people. Like, and I feel like you kind of assume that as crowds get bigger, that's just kind of the way it goes, and you'll just like keep meeting all of those people, and like, and at a certain point it crosses over. And I'd say it's somewhere around that 1,500, 2,000 people where you like look at the crowd and you're like, fuck that. I'm not dealing with anybody.
Have you had overwhelming experiences?
Oh yeah. The first, actually when I decided to quit smoking weed at shows, was one of those where, and I'll smoke weed every now and then at shows and stuff like that. But for the most part, especially bigger shows, I don't smoke weed, I don't drink, anything like that. I'm trying to like be on point and do my thing, and then we can party and fucking have all the fun and do stuff later. But it's like, especially weed is an interesting one when you have like 10,000, 20,000 people staring at you, and you're like, this is fucking weird. I am way too high for this many people to be looking at me right now. But the first time wasn't even that big. I was on tour, I was DJing for Grayskull, and we were opening for Aesop. This was like 13, 14 years ago, something like that. Maybe 12, I don't know. It was a while back. And we were on tour, we were in San Diego, I think. And Tumex, shout out to Tumex, by the way. Tumex had kind of pointed out to me, because I'm a professional magician too, or I did magic for a living for 10 years before I started doing music.
What?
I worked at Huber's downtown and was the house magician and do card. That's another way that like Sleep and I link together, is like he's a magician too. And we met and we're like
Is that what this is all about?
Yeah,
I noticed that you guys are. I've been waiting to ask. Kind of,
well, no, the Rubik's Cube is a different thing, but that's also a thing that Sleep and our homie Marty and I all have in common. Is we all solved the Rubik's Cube, but that's a whole other
cool
story.
Little collection here. Nice little collection, it looks like.
But yeah, we. But that was a way me and Sleep connect because I made my living doing magic and spent it all on turntables and vinyl, and he made his living rapping and spent it all on magic. And then we met and we were like, this is too weird. We got to do something with this. But so anyway, so I was on tour with Henri and Aesop, and Tumex had kind of like shown me how to hustle my magic into selling CDs. Had kind of like he like I'd never really thought about that, and then he kind of pointed that out to me.
Like you already have the person in front of your face.
Yeah. He's like, then, you know, and so we, like we were in like Pomona, and he got like a crowd to come around and was like, yo, watch this shit. And I like did a bunch of magic. And then when I was done, he was like, yo, for every Nightcrawler CD you buy, I'll throw in 2 free Tumex CDs. And then we sold like a gang of fucking CDs. And I was like,
Kool-Aid, you're out there Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And I was like, dang, okay, I can totally do that. And so I started doing this thing where I'd like walk the line of people who were like waiting to get in, show people magic, and then at the end be like, you want to buy a CD? And it's crazy because people felt almost like obligated to buy a CD. Like I just did magic for them, I entertained them, they had a good time, and they're like, shit, if his music is anything close to what the magic is, fuck it, this is going to be awesome. I definitely got to check it out. And
nice little hustle there.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was definitely like a way of like, rather than like, because it's like at a hip hop show, you know, everyone's like freestyling at you or like, yo, buy my CD, you got it. Like there's like so many people doing that same thing. So if you have anything that makes you stand out and is like different than what typically, you know, people are doing, and you know.
Is this your favorite space so far that you've worked in?
Oh yeah.
This is super. Looks super comfortable. Look at this. You got a little place for everybody to hang out. Mm-hmm. Little stretching area here, and then you got a little booth here. It looks like too.
Yep. That's the booth.
Nice little booth. Mm-hmm. Super pro.
It's a good space. It's the most. I'll say this. It's the most work I've put into a space, and the most like professional of a space I've ever curated and like been a part of making. There is a part of me that will love Salmon Street more just because it was like that was like the place, especially when like Pale was there and Camo Bear was there and like My G was in the back doing, you know, Rocket was running Zulu Nation meetings out of the like big, and it was just like, that was like the spot.
Shouts to Rocket One.
Yeah, shouts to Rocket One, which is another crazy full circle random thing, because I saw the across the street with Tony Ozier. Tony, that's my fucking dude.
Isn't he the greatest?
I love Tony Ozier.
He has so many
much.
Pro tips for people. If they would just let him just deep voice you for 2 minutes, and you'll be like, what?
Oh, for sure. He's always like this is a Sleep and cheat your own secret. Anytime there's a harmony that's too low that Sleep and Josh can't do, Tony Ozier's the dude to do it. Anytime there's a harmony that's too high that they can't do, Tony Hill is the one to do it. And so those are like the further end of the, it's the secret cheat your own Tonys. Tony. But Tony Ozier, this is where the Rocket One thing, Tony Ozier and Rocket One, they were the first people I met in the hip hop scene outside of my initial circle of people that I like first met. When I was like 17,
did you ever see
Rocket and Tony Ozier?
Have you seen
True Consumers?
The first album cover where he's in front of the Rocket sign.
Oh, yeah.
That is like one of my most favorite Portland album covers ever made. Mm-hmm. That is seriously legit as fuck.
That is a good one.
He said he tried to get the sign even, but couldn't acquire it because that would have been dope.
Yeah. Man, those guys though, I met them when I was like 17 and did some scratching for a True Consumers record. And
True Consumers, that was a group that involved...
It was Rocket, and I think maybe Tony Ozier recorded it, but I don't think he was in the group. But it was this guy Zaps, and then they had like a full band. I can't remember all the people that were in the band, but there was like a 3 or 4 piece band, and it was dope. But that was like the first. Like that was like the first kind of like outside person that I had like reach in to like my neighborhood growing up with circle of homies. That was like the first like other people I met where I was like, oh shit. Other than
dope.
like
Those are two Portland really cool.
And that was like right when Tony Ozier moved to Portland, I guess too, because we talked about it years later, and he was like, I'm pretty sure that's like right after he moved to Portland, and. Yeah, and it was like them and like the early, like I met John the Baptist, Sleep's brother, and Al One, too. They were like two early people that I met at a house party in Hillsborough that we later found out multiple people that were now in different groups and like things were all there at this house party. And it was like, that was a funny one because I was just like DJing and they had me play their set. And I was like scratching at all the hooks and stuff, like at the right spots, and they were like, "Yo, this is like new stuff we've never done. Like, how do you know where all the?"
You're like, I count 16
like,
bars.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know, just doing it. They were like, dang, and but yeah, that was a fun.
That's a cool one, Al One and all that.
Yeah, but that was like kind of the initial. There was a point to this. Tumex. Oh, the first time I was like, got social anxiety at shows. I think that was the original thing.
That's where we started off.
That's where it started with.
Yeah.
I was on tour with Henri and Aesop. Tumex showed me how to hustle CDs with my magic. And we did this show in San Diego.
What was your magic name?
It was just Patrick Lorenz. I just used my name. Yeah. But when I was working at Huber's, I like wore a suit and had a pompadour like Conan O'Brien. Full on like.
When was the last time you did all that?
Probably 20. I was 21 or 22, so probably around 15 years ago.
Anybody out there that's got a birthday party?
Oh yeah,
magician.
I got you. No, it's crazy. That was like anybody who's like, oh man, you've done so much with music, doesn't understand. Like I was way bigger in the magic scene before I like transitioned over to music. Like I was doing like the Blazers flew me to Palm Springs. I was doing these big corporate parties for like Nike and shit. I taught David Blaine a trick that he did on his first special.
What?
I knew like Lance Burton and fucking, you know, I met
You're like
Siegfried
a carny.
Roy
You're like
when
a
I was like 15.
carny.
Yeah. I'm very much, and in hip hop I'm the same way.
So
I'm
you're
that
the hip-hop carny.
that guy behind the scenes that I like. Know everybody. You may or may not have heard of me, but everybody that's doing stuff knows. Like we're all like, oh, hey, what's up?
I was hella envious of you on Rekka's podcast, Recognition, when I saw you spinning your cell phone.
Oh yeah.
God, I was bummed.
Dude.
I got to
this
the
thing
show.
is so good.
Look at that. This is the coolest thing ever.
It's my favorite.
He was on the podcast doing this for like the whole show, and I was like so mesmerized. I was like, what in the hell?
Dude, and it just goes. It's like the adult fidget spinner.
It is. I'm a fidgeter. I'm someone that cannot keep my hands. That's why I think I like buttons so much. So.
No, me too.
Yeah.
And that therein leads back to the Rubik's Cube.
Maybe
that's why I kind of picked up the Rubik's Cube again when I started running the studio.
The Homeway DJ Switch.
Yeah.
He gave me a Lego set.
Okay.
As a gift on the episode that he did, because he said the same thing. He's like, take some time with this and relax, let your fingers do the work, and just don't do anything else. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I can do that. I think I'll probably.
It's a thing. Like anything, it's a skill that you build, and the deeper you get into it, just depends. Like how far down the rabbit hole do you really want to go?
Well, I got a button. I got a little machine similar to her at home. So
that's
my little button fix.
That's all you need.
Yes.
That's all you need. Okay, so I keep getting distracted.
Dang
okay,
it.
so social anxiety shows Aesop, Henri, Grayskull, Tumex, Hustle CDs. Was gonna do that. We did a show. Okay, now we're back. So we did a show in San Diego, and we did our Grayskull set, and we finished. And then I went outside with some kids from the show and smoked like a huge blunt. And then after that, I was gonna go out into the crowd and sell CDs. And we smoked this huge blunt. And then I turned around and they went in and I was in the green room for a second, and then I went out and I like looked at the crowd, and I was just like, nope, nope, I'm just not doing that. Not gonna deal with that, and just stayed in the green room the rest of the night, and then was like, I gotta not smoke weed, I think, at shows, because that really like just it shifted my whole trajectory
Like
and momentum and like the where my mind was at the time, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna go do this shit, and then I was just like, that's too many things.
I can't imagine that many. I about 10 years ago smoked a joint and tried to go get a gallon of milk and froze in the lawn furniture.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you start multiplying the crowds and they get bigger and bigger, at the time, like I said, that was maybe 1,500, 2,000 people, somewhere in that range. It wasn't like a huge amount of people, but it's still a huge amount of people. Like that's still like it's still more people than like the 3 people that are in the green room that I'm joking around with, and everything's like cool. Like I know, like this is the safe space. I know everyone here, and we're all cool.
But that other 30 grand, 1,500.
Yeah. I don't need all that. That's got enough friends in here.
This has been awesome. We did run through like 25 minutes already. I love this. Is great how we just totally lose control.
It's the best. I knew we were gonna do that.
It's great. I knew it kind of
one
did too.
story. That's not even. We barely got through one story.
In 25 minutes. Like, I think that shows the ADD in both of us.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. I'm very much like that. But
let's give you the last couple minutes here, just so you want to give some shout outs or some love before we take off out of here.
Man, everybody, the Portland hip hop scene, fucking for raising me, and now allowing me to be in a place where I can give back to that and help the younger generation on their come up in ways that people before me did for me. People like fucking Zeb and Prince and Smoke and Pale, and like the people that were producing and engineering and doing that shit that I looked up to when I was coming up and was like, dang, that's that thing. I want to do that. So that's the thing you're into. One day that could be you. Who knows?
I appreciate your time,
the
man.
cyclical nature of
this has been dope.
Of this music thing.
This has been dope. Do you have a bag of cables? Do you have a bag of random cables?
Oh, always. I have so many. I have like, yeah.
I don't trust anybody that doesn't own a bag of random cables.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right now a lot of them are just scattered places, but I have absolutely boxes. I mean, I got. I'm sure there's random cables here.
See, this is what it's all about, folks.
Things. Yeah.
Nothing gets thrown away. You might need it.
Yeah, an extra. just in case you need an extra keyboard, in case the wireless one goes out. You need something you can plug in. Got it all. Money, cash, cars, diamond rings, gold chains, and champagne, shit, every damn.
We're here at Sloth City, so want to do a shameless plug for your. Not that you need any more work to do, but
I know. But yes, if you're trying to record, hit me up at the DJ Zone on any social media thing, and set up a session if you want to make your music sound more music-y. And
I'll add that link below. We'll put your Instagram link below. So if anybody wants to get it Zone, tremendous work. The guy does phenomenal work. That's not just tooting horns here.
I'm just a guy.
Really,
I just turn knobs until it sounds good. That's literally. I have no idea.
Boom. Just not as good as your friend who does it for free.
Yeah, exactly.
This is great. Thanks again. If there's anything I can do for you in the future, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise.
I
love what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for being a fan of the show too. I appreciate that. I always forget myself. Like, subscribe, share, please.
Yeah.
Help me out.
It's such a great thing for the community, I think, and like because we know this. Anybody who's been in this for a while in Portland knows that there's like 6, 7, 8 or more different hip hop scenes in Portland that have like no idea about each other, that do their own thing with their own like circle of friends, and then they do shows, and they all think they're the kings of Portland, and then they have no idea like a block down the road there's another group of people that pulls the same amount of people at shows and also thinks they're the kings of Portland, and are like doing that thing, and it's all very like separated.
There you go. We'll start.
If everybody works together, we have the potential to do so much more than anybody can do by themselves. You know?
You can fill the bubble. It's working.
Yeah, yeah.
Tap in with my man. He's got
that's the
everything
thing.
you need here. Let's go get some daylight and let's go get across the street. See if we can't get killed over here. Though.
Yeah,
It's a busy
yeah.
street out there. Cheers, friend.